The bandwidth for this episode of the Power Factor Show is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. FirearmsRadio.tv.
Sponsored by Taylor Freelance, Rainier Ballistics, Hodgson Powders, and JPL Precision.
Hi, welcome to Power Factor. I'm Larry, and this week I got another match review for you and also a product review. So back when we had Rob and Taylor on the show last, about July of 2014, he was showing off multiple different products, and one of which is one I was pretty excited about, genuinely very excited about, was his sight block. And if you missed that episode, go back and check it out. I don't know which episode it is, but go back to summer of 2014. That's about all I can tell you. So it's going to be about, 170, I don't know, something like that, in that range. So the sight block from Taylor Freelance is an extension to a Glock 22, which brings it out to Glock 24 length. Now the Glock 24 is the full 6-inch length 40 caliber Glock. Good pistol for limited division, and it's the Glock that you see me shooting in the intro of our show back when I used to have one. I really preferred the Glock 35 better because the Glock 24 slide weight cycled a little more slowly for me, and I felt that the Glock 35 was a better option, which I already had anyway. I had both at the same time. So for those that want a Glock 24, the benefits of a Glock 24, for a cheaper cost, if you already have a Glock 22, or if you want to pick up a police trade-in Glock 22, which some are available right now, very good pricing, you can get this sight block, which is it's kind of like a compensator in the sense that it screws onto an extended barrel, but instead, Robin uses an extended Glock 35 barrel. So the Glock 35 is already 5.3 inch long. When you extend that for the threads, it grows by like half an inch. So now you're almost 5.9 inches, and the Glock 24 is a full 6 inches. So this is just shy by 1/10 of an inch. And the added benefit is you've got the longer sight radius, exactly that of the Glock 24. You've got the barrel length, almost that of the Glock 24, which gives you better velocity. You can make power factor easier with less powder. Less powder means less recoil. But another benefit of the system is that you've got your sight tracking capability where the front sight is fixed onto the barrel, not on the slide. So as the slide is violently cycling back and forth, the front sight just moves back 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch that it takes the barrel to unlock from the slide, and it just stays there. So your front sight's only moving just a little bit while the slide is doing its full cycle. The theory of that is, that you can track the sight better because it's not moving so much. So this is just a little match review, but like I said, a product review, and kind of show off what this product looks like, and I finally got a chance to test drive it. So got invited, basically to a match. Robin said, "Hey, why don't you come up and try this thing?" So I wasn't planning on shooting the match, but I said, "What the heck?" Went up to Custer, which is Robin's home range. Custer, Washington is it's actually Linden, Washington, where the range is at. Custer Sportsman's Club, and it's about 6 miles from the Canadian border on I-5. So it's the northwesternmost USPSA range, not counting Alaska, right? So headed up there to check it out. Custer's it's a really cool range, and I've shown videos from there before. It's kind of what we refer to as the sandbox. For some reason, just the geology up there is just dumped a bunch of sand. I don't know if it's river sediment or glacial sediment or whatever, but it's a total sandbox, and you're running around in sand all day and pulling your mags up out of the sand and having to dust them off all the time and clean them off all the time up there. But they've got some cool bays up there where we didn't use this one this time, but they've got a 270 bay where you can turn around almost all the way around to shoot targets. It's not just a 180 safety line. They've actually got targets where you can circle back around and engage more uprange in the back corner. We did shoot a stage today, which is stage 6, and you'll see that, where another bay where you are allowed to turn past the 180. So that kind of makes it fun, and it's a little bit different than kind of standard run-of-the-mill 180 safety line, which is the most common. So we'll just go ahead and dive in. I don't know what else to say. Oh yeah, I need to talk about the product a little bit more and how I used it. So Robin's just using his Glock 22 on a stock Glock frame and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to use my grip and my trigger, my mag well and all that. I was shooting limited in this match, so I just took the top end off my Glock 35 and put his top end on. So now, so that changed a little bit about how the trigger felt because he's got different springs in his, and it changed a little bit about how the gun felt. I mean, not only because of the configuration, because of this sight tracker-like configuration, but the recoil spring in his gun was a stock spring, which I was not really used to. The trigger spring or the striker spring was a little bit heavier than what I was used to. And he also had stock Glock sights on there, which I'm totally not used to, actually. So of all the Glocks I've owned, about 4 Glocks, I've bought every one of them used, and I've never ever had stock Glock sights on a Glock. So everyone always complains about them. It's one of the first things that many people change out. Some people like them, you know, if they work for you, great. But a lot of people that are serious about competition, that's the first thing they do if they get a brand new Glock is to strip the sights off and put some different set of sights on the Glock. So, so this took a little bit of getting used to as far as the recoil impulse and the sights, but you'll see how that goes, and let's go ahead and dive in. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the first stage I shot, which was stage 4.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Gun clear. It's clear. Hammer down the holster.
Okay, so that was stage 4 of the match. There's a few things I got to point out now that I've seen this video. So, first of all, my draw was horrendous, like 3 seconds or something, right? So, I went to go for the gun, and it didn't really come out of my holster quite as smoothly as my regular Glock 35. And actually, I kind of remember a similar effect with the Glock 24 that I had back in the day. It was I kind of had to torque the muzzle of the gun towards my body a little bit as I drew it up, because I don't know, maybe the holster was floppy, or maybe it was just kind of the end of the holster was not originally designed for something that long. So a long time ago I opened it up, and maybe it's kind of rubbing or biting onto the longer extension of the slide. The sight block was not fully extended past my holster, so I know it wasn't the edge of that getting hooked on there. I don't know what it was, but that was something I learned right there on the first stage, was this doesn't come out of my holster quite as smoothly as my regular gun with just a one-piece slide. So that was the first thing I noticed. Second thing I noticed was that the brass, my brass was hitting me in the head like the whole match, and hitting the camera on top of my head for like the whole match. So you see, like, I don't know, a dozen pieces of brass during the stage just donk, 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 like bonking off the camera. So that was somewhat humorous, I guess, watching the video, but very distracting when I was shooting my first stage with this gun that I'd never put not one round through it. I didn't test anything. I didn't know where the sights, how to align the sights, where they were hitting, so I had no clue. I was just kind of winging it. You see I had a little trouble with the plate rack at first. Those stationary plates were kind of tough, but when I got over to the Texas Star, I didn't have as much trouble as they were moving around in circles. So did that pretty good, just one makeup shot on the Texas Star. And otherwise, a pretty fun stage. You see we got bags on the targets. That's what we got to do up here in the Pacific Northwest when it's raining. And it was just kind of a little bit misty, and it was kind of more threatening to rain. It wasn't quite really raining, and And you'll see, I think, in the rest of the match, we took the bags off the target, so that was nice. But anyway, that was my first introduction to the Taylor Freelance sight block on a Glock 22 slide. So anyway, hope you like that. Because of the little hiccups and stuff I had, looks like I was about. It's unclear because they got a guy listed as limited, and he never shoots limited. I think he was shooting open, so I think we're comparing ourselves against an open shooter here. But according to that, I'm 62% on the stage, 4th place out of 13. So that was my finish on that one. And let's go ahead and look at the next stage. We shot stage 5.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Clear, hammer down, and holster.
Okay, so that was stage 5 of the match. So the first thing you notice is that no holsters involved. That was a table start. I was actually happy to see that, so the holster would not interfere on that one. That was an unloaded start and pretty straightforward stage, as you could see. One mistake I made was that I didn't remember my positioning, and as I went through the doorway, you could see the one target down there, and I immediately engaged it, and then had to move forward to engage the second target, whereas before in my stage plan, I'd picked out a spot to go to, not too far in, because I didn't want to go too far in and have to come back to that first window that I had to shoot through, but I wanted to go in a little bit further so that I could see both of those targets from one position. So I wasted a little bit of time there shooting the one target, repositioning to shoot the second target before moving on. Kind of looking at that, it seemed a little slow overall, but there was some distance to cover there between different shooting positions and different windows and ports and whatever else to see the targets. Also, these ports were cut very high, so I couldn't just get a regular sight picture. There was 2 separate ports with 2 targets down low on the ground. I had to just kind of do that and watch the shots hit the targets to verify that I was, making good hits. Luckily, there was no shoots or anything on there. So anyway, that was stage 6. Looks like overall, again with that open shooter in the mix, looks like I was 81% on that one. So pretty happy about that. 4th place again out of 13 shooters. And now let's go take a look at stage 6.
Shooter ready. Stand by. Low show clear. Guns clear. Hammer down and holster.
Okay, so that was stage 6. So first of all, I noticed that I had remembered to torque the gun, the muzzle inward as I drew, because it looked like a pretty smooth draw. And this is the bay that this is one of the bays where we typically shoot up range. So you'll see it's a starting position with hands on the X, and I'm facing straight down range at that point. And then on the buzzer, turn, and I'm turning right on the 180. And actually, there's 2 targets there, and the target on the right is actually a little bit beyond the 180 from the point we're standing, but that's a legal thing in this bay. And then there's 2 other places you see me shoot through ports that are a little bit uprange, and another one that's a lot uprange. And the only concern there is that we just got to make sure that everybody knows that you cannot be scoring and taping while the shooting is still happening, because you go down that alley and there's kind of bullet's going to be heading back your way. So everybody knows just to stay out of there until you hear the range clear command. The other thing you might notice is that we went halfway through those hallways and come to an opening with 4 targets long range across the bay. I think it was 30 yards I paced off. And they do that sometimes from that position where they have long shots like that. And I brace my my weak hand knuckles up against the wall to try and stabilize the shots a little bit better. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This time I had 2 misses over there, so ouch, that kind of hurt. So I'm at about 75-76% on this stage at 5th place. Otherwise, everything went well. I mean, the gun's running smooth, it runs fast, no complaints there. Just again, more brass bouncing off my ball cap and into the camera and everything like that. So, like I said, kind of humorous now, but it was really distracting while I was shooting. So I think, no fault of Taylor Freelance's system. It's just that stock weight recoil spring, and, my loads are just, barely major, or whatever it takes to make major comfortably. It's not to the full factory power, which is actually, I've measured 175 or 180 something power factor out of factory ammo before, so you don't quite need that much power, so you can drop the recoil spring generally a little bit. But Robin's wanting to test this system with a stock spring to make sure that everything works in all conditions as he's selling this product. So otherwise, that's always a fun bay to shoot in, because again, you're shooting up range and in all different directions, and a lot of quick moving halls and walls kind of style. And this next one, Bay 1, is one that they typically name the stage halls and walls. So let me show you what Bay 1 was about.
Shooters ready. Stand by. Ah. Okay, if you're finally finished, unload, show clear. If it's clear, hammer and holster. Range is clear.
All right, so that was stage 1, and you notice a couple of hiccups there right in the beginning. So the procedure, just standing in the box, and on the buzzer, you've got a target to engage, and you've got a rope to pull to open the port, and there's 2 more targets to engage. Same thing on both sides. So as you see, I started off, no problem, right? Engage the target, pull the rope, engage 2 more targets, go over the other side, engage target. Try to pull the rope, miss the rope. That was the ARG. And then, for some reason, the gun wasn't feeding my rounds. Shooting strong hand only. I had just shot strong hand only through the other port. I don't think I was limp wristing the gun or anything, but for some reason, it was not feeding those rounds. I don't know I don't know what happened. I mean, just for some reason, those didn't chamber. So just racking that slide while I'm holding the rope, racking the slide every time to shoot those things one at a time. So that's where I lost a lot of time. Otherwise, I normally do really well on this stage, this type of stage. Looks like I was about 6 seconds behind the stage winner, whereas I should have been right up there with his time. He's a more accurate shooter. He probably still would have beat me, but my time should have been closer to 22 seconds instead of 28. So it looks like I was about 79% on that stage. The only, other tips I can tell you is that when you have a stage like that, you need to prepare the ropes to your liking. In this sense, in this stage, there was pretty heavy duty rope and just a regular pulley to just a plywood board that would slide up in a slot, to open the port. I told you this in another match, at least a year ago, where there was a rope and a similar similar setup where I did my walkthrough and I yanked the rope and I let it go and it popped up and half popped up over the wall, and I didn't even notice it, but I did that to myself. So then when I was running the stage for real, I had to really jump up and grab the rope. So ever since then, since I've given that tip to you guys, I've remember the tip myself. So I get there and I prepare the rope to make sure it's not snagged on anything. I mean, you're not gaming anything. You're just trying to make sure that you're not screwing yourself by, leaving it in a bad setup. So the ropes here, I just made sure it wasn't snagged on any of the structure of the wall. And also, the rope is stiff enough that if you kind of bend it a little bit, it'll keep that curve. And I had set them both that way. I pulled them straight down and I just gave it a little twist so that it was curving out towards me, so I'd have something more to grab onto. And it didn't work out on the second board, as you see, but at least it wasn't as bad as somebody I saw grab the wrong end of the rope and pulled the handle side up instead of pulling the port up. So at least I didn't do that. But anyway, that's another fun stage, another good view of the Taylor Freelance sight block. And otherwise, I don't know what to say. I don't know why my rounds weren't chambered on that one strong hand only on those 4 shots that I had to rack it every time. But otherwise, I think there's no other hiccups in this match other than that. So I don't really know what to explain on that one. So I guess we'll just take a look at the next one, stage 2.
One hut. Get ready. Stand by. Reload if necessary.
Straight to center kick on.
Get ready. Stand by. Come clear. Hammer down. Holster.
So that was stage 2, a standards exercise. It was 2 separately timed strings, and as you see, it ended up with 2 rounds per target. So we had 3 targets downrange, 3 targets left, 3 targets right, and string 1 was 1 round each at the downrange targets, mandatory reload, and 2 rounds each on the targets on this one side, and then repeat the process, 1 round on each target downrange, and then mandatory reload and 2 rounds on each target on the other side. That was facing up range, hands on the shovel handle, and I don't know what to say about that. I mean, you see the targets had a V-shaped hardcover for whatever reason. I don't know if they made them specifically that way or if they were left over from something else. Looks like I was 3rd place on that stage. Not real smooth, 77%, so not real good compared to the stage winner. But whatever. It was a standard exercise, shooting from a Yankee-style barricade, and it was a little bit slow going. I should have picked it up a little bit more, but I was trying to, just kind of work with those sights and try to make good hits. Looks like I did make good hits. Actually, my points were better than the stage winner. So I made good hits, just took too much time doing it. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the last stage. This is our Classifier stage 3.
Are you ready? Stand by. What the hell? That was a nice run. Like that.
590.
If you're finished, unload, show clear, hammer down, holster.
I did that.
Okay, good. That was good.
Okay, so that was stage 3. That was the Classifier number 0913, called table stakes. If you're not a USPSA shooter, Classifier is what they use to rank you nationally. So there's all these courses that we shoot, and they're just there for the match, except for the classifier. There's a book, or rather now there's an online book of classifiers that everyone across the country sets it up exactly the same way, and it's the exact same stage shot all over the U.S., and with enough people shooting it, then they can rank you based on who did it the best, or the Grand Masters that initially set the bar when it first became a brand new classifier. So that's kind of how that works. Like I said, it's called table stakes. The start position, you can't tell, it's seated in a chair with your hands behind your head and your fingers interlaced behind your head, unloaded guns on the table. On start signal, you don't have to stand up, but you load the gun and engage the paper, 2 rounds. You got 3 steel, and you got another paper with 2 rounds. And I did all right on that one. Looks like 82% for the match. I'm not sure what the national percentage is going to be. Probably somewhat less than that. But 82% for the stage at our match, and 3rd place overall out of 13 shooters. Again, we got that open shooter in the mix. I'm pretty sure this guy shot open, but I think we got some mistakes on the scoring here in practice score. If any of you guys want to see these scores, head over to practicescore.com, look up match results, type in Custer, C-U-S-T-E-R, and look for the November USPSA match. I think is what they call it, November 2014 USPSA match. What else can I say? I don't know. Overall, I like the sight block. It's a good, inexpensive way to get yourself into a Glock 24 sized gun. Glock 24 barrel length and sight radius. You got the added benefit of not having the slide weight of the Glock 24. The reciprocating mass is much less than the Glock 24, which was my biggest complaint. And I kind of wish I would have hung on to the gun and just cut it up and cut some holes in it, but at the time, and still, don't really have the money to be doing any gunsmithing and refinishing and all that, so I just decided to sell it and get something else. But if you're looking to get back into that, I mean, right now there's a bunch of police trade-ins coming through various online retailers. I mean, you could pick up Glock 22s all day long for about $325. And this system costs about $150 after you get the barrel, the Glock 35 extended threaded barrel, and the sight block from Taylor Freelance. You're into it for another $150. So what is that? $375, $475. Not even $500. You got yourself a really good start on a nice limited gun for USPSA competition. You know, you want to throw a magwell on there. Something like this. Here's the frame I was using. Throw a magwell on there. Put some decent sights on there. Sure, that's going to add a few bucks to it, but it's do some trigger work on it. But your base gun, you're starting off at a really good price point. So overall, it's a product I like. Recommend you guys check it out if you're all interested in getting into USPSA limited division. If you're not already into it. If you don't already have a Glock 24 or a Glock 35, it's a nice way to go. So, otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed the videos. Let us know if you have any questions about the product. You can write to us. Our email address is powerfactorshow.com, and you can hit up Robin Taylor from his website, taylorfreelance.com. Okay, so again, thanks for watching this week. Now we got a trivia question for you. This is, of course, a USPSA question, and this is fairly new, and it's not in the book yet. So just see if you guys are paying attention, or maybe if you could just guess the answer. Board of Directors for USPSA just approved a new cartridge for limited division that is a new cartridge that is legal to make major power factor. What is that cartridge? Send us the answer to our email address at powerfactorshow@gmail.com. And as always, check us out on facebook.com and like us there, facebook.com/powerfactorshow. If you're new to the show and if you got a specific topic you're interested in, head over to powerfactorshow.com, our website. From there you can search and filter on various things like reloading, or as Rick would say, hand loading, IDPA, shotgun sports, trap, skeet, USPSA, you name it. If we've covered it, you can search on filter topics and filter shows on our website and get exactly what you're looking for. Thanks a lot. And as usual, trivia question rules are that we'll take all the correct answers and throw them into a hat. After 1 week, when next week's show airs, we'll stop and randomly select from all the correct answers and pick a winner. And we've got some Taylor Freelance base pads to give away. We've got a holster, Glock 19 holster from DC Holsters. Greg Purcell, DC Holsters, appreciate his support of the show. By the way, he's also the guy that kicked my ass here at the match that we just aired on this episode. And real good shooter, real good guy. And again, that question is, USPSA Board of Directors just approved a brand new cartridge that is going to be legal for major power factor in the limited division. What is that cartridge? Send that to our email address, powerfactorshow@gmail.com. Thanks a lot. See you next week.